meeting to order. Ms. Everett, may I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Chair Chavez,
Here.
Vice Chair Salmon,
Here.
Member Renahan,
Here.
Member Eckhoff,
Here.
Member DeCiani,
Here.
and Member Rutledge.
Here.
And I would like to request a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting Tuesday, August 17th. And the roll call, please.
Chair Chavez,
We can do a voice. I just realized that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. As far as Chairwoman's remarks, I just want to thank everyone for their support of economic development. I know that we recently got all of the ARPA funds out to through DuPage to our small businesses. So that's been completed. And we're excited that those are now in the hands of those businesses. I know that we're in budgeting season, so finance has been busy working with finance on budget. But we are continuing to work behind the scenes with some of our other partners to shore up their eventual asks for ARPA. So those are in the works as well, but we are dealing with some time restraints there. So really that's all I have for Chairwoman's remarks. Do we have any public comment today?
we do not.
All right, wonderful. So let's move on to just general information. We have 3 items that are just informational only. Can I get a motion to approve these 3 items? They're all 3 incumbent worker training memos, and to approve and place on file. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those have been approved. As far as change orders, may I get a motion to approve the amendment to a contract issued to the Parents Alliance Employment Project for Youth Training Services to extend and increase the contract to $91,594.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't ask for any discussion. Were there any questions on that at all? All right, wonderful. Okay, so then we'll move on to amendment to the contract issue, or I'll request a motion to amend the contract issued to Parents Alliance Employment Project for Youth Training Services to extend and increase the contract by $225,741. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we do have 2 resolutions today. I'd like to request a motion for EDR 033421. This is an acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for PY21 Intergovernmental Agreement 216810006. And it's the amount of $5,636,958. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries. I'd also like to request a motion for the resolution for the approval of the issuance of payments by DuPage County to the training providers and youth contracts through the Workforce Innovation and Economic Opportunity Act, PY21 Intergovernmental Agreement 216810006 in the amount of $2,816,229. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that resolution carries. Today we do have a wonderful update. I'll turn it over to Lisa Shabak of WorkNet so that she can give us an update on what her, one of our community partners is doing. I have the utmost confidence.
I know. I don't know if anybody's viewing it, but I'll stand over here.
Okay, yeah, I think you should.
Well, good morning, everybody. So first I wanted to give a brief update. You all know that we had our lease approved for the space in Lyle for the WorkNet Center. We are now in the process of the logistics and planning for moving. So by the end of this week, our downstairs office space, those of you who have been over know we have a small space on the first floor. We wanted to consolidate on the 3rd floor. They will be out of that space by the end of this week. And then it's going to be a matter of moving pieces around within the building, which DuPage is moving to the 2nd floor, Parents Alliance also moving to the 2nd floor. And then we have a build out that's going to be taking place. So we're sort of, I think it's fair to say we're sort of behind schedule. There's some delays and stuff like that on NAI HIFMAN side, but I will keep you all posted. Chairwoman Chavez asked that I kind of keep you guys looped in on how that's progressing. As a general note, we are continuing to serve people both in person and virtually, both businesses and job seekers. The main struggles that we have right now continue to be the same that we've been seeing for many months. Those are getting job seekers re-engaged with employment and with the workforce system. And the flip side of that coin is every single business we talk to cannot find the workers that they need. Major challenge, and it's across every sector. If you had told me when this all started that we would be in this boat where there are more jobs than people that are looking to fill those jobs, I would not have placed that bet. And this is very surprising. In my 19 years with this organization, I've never seen anything like it. Post 9/11, the Great Recession, it's extremely challenging. So when working with businesses, oh, sorry.
I'm just curious if now that the unemployment benefits have come to an end, if you're seeing any uptick or is it about the same?
You know, not noticeably, not yet.
Interesting.
That first week, we had a few people calling that were saying my unemployment is, you know, so we were like, okay, here it comes. And it still sort of hasn't completely materialized. I continue to think that, and I'm sure we would all agree, this is very multifaceted. People have issues with their health, obviously, and fears around that. Childcare is a big one. I know Joan had a call from Dr. Rossetti with ROE about bus drivers. Bus drivers is a major issue right now, and that affects childcare. Speaking from my own kids' bus schedules, everything's out of whack. So if you have the kind of job where you're going to be let go if you're not there, you know, on time, clocking in, it's challenging. So the upside to this is there's a lot of supports. There's a lot of funding. Governor Pritzker just the other day mentioned a change to a program with the childcare program through DHS, where people can get a childcare subsidy. So my plan with that is to connect with my partner, Beatrice Gonzalez at the Department of Human Services in Naperville, and try to pair that with our services. So people that are receiving that extra childcare assistance, let's get them through a short-term training program, or at least get them placed with an employer and try to boost that earning potential. So different kind of braiding concepts like that.
Childcare was what I was going to ask about, because I think there was a report that for every 8 people who received unemployment, 7 still can't go back to work either because of childcare or because of wages aren't high enough to risk your death. Do you know details yet on the childcare? Are we still waiting on like income thresholds and things like how it's going to apply for it?
I do not know the ins and outs of the thresholds for it. I do know that the change was, and I just sent this out to my staff a couple days ago, last week. The change was that they can now get extra assistance if they're unemployed or actively seeking employment. And then I believe that once they land employment, there's a buffer period, which is what's critical.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a really, in my humble opinion, it's a really smart policy tweak that I am confident will at least contribute to some improvement on this.
If I could ask that you could send details to our chair, I think we'd all be
Absolutely.
really interested in
Yeah.
the program.
I will absolutely do that.
Thank
And yeah, so it's interesting. I had a meeting with some chambers of commerce recently about childcare, and they don't know what, you can survey your workforce to see if there's a childcare issue, but if they're there, I was trying to explain, I'm like, I feel like you can't prove a negative, like if they're there working, they clearly don't have a childcare issue. But what you don't know is how many people might respond to job openings if there was some kind of childcare part of a benefit package. So we were having that conversation, but I don't know that there's any like soon to be expected movement on a bunch of employers or an industrial park looking at a kind of broader solution. But I'll certainly continue to have that be part of our conversation, because to me, it's a huge part of it, especially for those most at-risk kind of populations.
Another question. I know YWCA Metro was a good partner for us in the beginning, and I think they're still technically our go-to. I mean, how's that going?
Yes, so that's kind of our key. Apart from, we always refer people that indicate they have a childcare issue to community services here, and then everybody kind of lines up with YWCA. Anyway, it's another part of the issue is that there's not necessarily enough providers. So however many slots are available is dependent on how many childcare providers there are, and what their capacity is. So we refer people there regularly that have that issue. What kind of success they find, in hooking up with services, I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah. So in light of all of that, you might be wondering, so we are currently, I'll use Nick's verbiage here, we're sort of below the line, if you will, as far as any kind of request of ARP dollars. And there's a reason for that, so I want to make note of that to the committee so that you guys are clear on what I'm thinking, and then, you know, any feedback, obviously, that anybody has. We have funding. As you just saw, we have that 5.6 million for this program year, which is great. We're serving businesses with the inclement worker grants. We're serving job seekers. So it's not an acute, let's say, need that people are going unserved. I watch the meetings, I listen in on your meetings. I know that there's a lot of stuff above the line that needs to be considered, and everybody's trying to find the, you know, the most prudent way to kind of go about sifting through various asks. Some of those things in my mind are perhaps more need to be addressed quicker, or are more acute, like I said, critical kind of things that need to be addressed. I don't want you to think that I'm sleeping on this. I'm well aware that in the American Rescue Plan, there's the category to address economic recovery. Many of those things fall under overlap with services that we provide at WorkNet DuPage. So I anticipate that at some point, I would like to put together a more formulated response. I want that to be a thoughtful ask, and I don't want it to be a redundant ask with services that are being provided through other grant dollars, either through us or through other agencies. I have a call with April Redzik from PADS tomorrow. I think we rescheduled, or Thursday. I'm very interested in the work that they're doing. We've always partnered with PADS, but again, kind of grading what we do and the funding into perhaps some of the different projects and initiatives that they have underway. The childcare piece, I want to make sure that everything kind of makes sense. I think that there's a definite need for some grant dollars potentially for businesses, like to boost our incumbent worker training. If you can't find workers, you need to train people that you already have, and that's what we do with those grants. So I think that that would be a prudent thing. So I just want to have it on everybody's radar that, you know, we have that kind of below the line status right now. I guess to some extent, I'm trying to take a thoughtful approach, wait till the dust settles a little bit, see where we can have the greatest impact, leveraging both our WIOA dollars and things that other people in the community are working on, kind of partner. So I would love any kind of feedback or comments on that.
I have a question is, so HHS, we're going to be considering, you know, how do we give out a number of grants, you know, and then one of the categories we're looking at as we prioritize is reemployment or, you know, job supports. Are you looking at with some of your money, do you have the ability to provide grants yourself? To, like you say, you partner with PADS, or I mean, could you possibly say grant money to PRC or the PADS or something to kind of help these programs?
Just like as a subrecipient?
Yes.
We don't normally do that because our grants have the WIOA eligibility criteria attached, so they would have to become a full subcontractor, like how Parents Alliance is. So, and it's not impossible to do. I don't know that the volume of dollars that we have would be enough to kind of serve that role. Now, if we were sort of like I don't know what, I almost said hub. I know the hub and spoke thing is a big thing right now, but if we were almost like a hub for workforce development, we could potentially kind of oversee some of those efforts because of our expertise in that area with assessing and things like that. I don't know if our budget would be robust enough for us to dole out kind of subcontracts to PRC or others. With that being said, there's a funding opportunity that's coming out by the state. They're supposed to release the funding notice soon. It's called JTED. It stands for Job Training Economic Development, probably, or something similar to that. It's an old program that they're resurrecting, but the idea is to serve disadvantaged populations. So my thought was to partnering with DuPage Federation that I'm a part of, and that would be PRC and, you know, all of the kind of community leaders, and see how we can maybe collectively work on something like that. So that might be an opportunity to get some grant dollars spread out.
Yeah, I just don't have redundant, you know, and make sure we're not trying to do the same thing.
That's always my thing, is like if everybody, and then you're almost like competing, like you have to spend, you know, and it's just, it becomes redundant and sort of wasteful. So I want to make sure that like I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on, and we all kind of know, and we can tie all the efforts together.
Thanks so much. And that was my comment. So I really appreciate you reaching out to community services and working with them, because as Member Renahan said, we don't want to have redundant or competing grants, but I think it's really great that you're trying to, you know, see what community service is doing and not overlap. And
and being really thoughtful of how we're going to use those ARPA dollars. So that's really,
Yeah,
yeah, and and a lot of this, like the childcare issues, and too, I think that this is really more a conversation that should be in our HHS committee, and maybe we, I don't know, invite that over to talk about, the childcare issues too, because I think it really does fall more, under community service with the childcare.
yeah. And we all are always talking through various organizations. Community services is one of our required partners. We're all part of this DuPage Federation and different things. So it's just important in my mind to really, make sure, like you said, that we're not all kind of coming up with the same idea. Like, let's help people get back to work. Okay, but we don't all want to be working on the same exact thing. And my team at WorkNet, that's what we do. That's the heart of what we do. So like, we're not going to offer childcare. Everybody shouldn't be offering workforce development. Let's all kind of just work together. So that's my idea. I just wanted to make note of that so that everyone's kind of like, where's WorkNet? Because I know that that's a big part of the recovery plan. We do have funds and we are still serving all of the people, just as the actual act mentions, all those different populations, people that are unemployed due to COVID. We're doing all that right now anyway. So there's no gap.
Right. Yeah, you guys do great work. Great.
Oh, thank you. So I appreciate that. So we keep, obviously, that'll be an ongoing discussion. The last thing I wanted to put on everybody's radar that is the big thing, big ticket item right now that I'm working on has to do with the financial review that I think you're all aware is going on countywide as far as pay scales, pay ranges, any equity adjustments that need to be potentially made or reclassification of positions. This is it's a big task. It's hard when you're 100% grant funded to do budget forecasting of what the fluctuations might be in your grant allocation, what the escalations year over year might look like. So Carmi and I have been diligently working on that, evaluating where everybody is at and trying to find what we would like to propose that is neither too conservative, because obviously I want to reward my wonderful staff with what they deserve and what the market dictates, but I also don't want to overdo it and then have we get a budget cut or something in a grant and then I'm in a pickle. So threading that needle is what I'm working on right now, and we're obviously been working with Nick and Margaret and the whole team about that and kind of making sure that we can give people boosts and kind of closer to those mid ranges without cutting off my nose to spite my face, I think is the same. So working on that, and I wanted to make you all aware of that. That'll be forthcoming as part of the larger countywide effort. Lastly, last quick note, I am so excited about this. On this Friday, we are hosting, we have a series called Career Conversations. It was formerly called Job Club. We've been doing it all virtual since COVID started. We've had great response and attendance to this. This will be the first one that features young adults, geared towards young adults. We have 2 of the 4 panelists are people that will work at clients. One young man is 19 years old, went through CDL training, and 3 months later purchased his own tractor trailer and is knocking down some good money for himself, and he's a wonderful young man. Another young woman I personally worked with prior to becoming the director, she went into manufacturing. She has moved up and gone to many different companies around DuPage County. She'll be on the panel, non-traditional jobs. And then we have 2 other individuals. One young man works part-time for Innovation DuPage, and then he also works for Graycore, and he's in software development. And he did that without getting like a master's degree, which is why I wanted him to make people aware that you can get into these paths without investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then our head kind of workshop presenter for 30 almost years now, Jim Fergal, his son will be the 4th panelist representing sales careers and supply chain. And they're going to talk to these young adults. We have many of the schools that are going to be, high schools are going to be streaming this in their classrooms in many cases. So I'm completely excited about this. There's 4 video clips I sent to all the members of the committee. If I could send it out to the whole board, if you think that that's appropriate, if you could share it on your through your networks or on your social media feeds or things like that, that would be wonderful. We have, I think, 95 people signed up, and many of those are teachers that are planning on sharing it in class. So it should be great. I'm excited for it. And I sent you guys all an email. You have that.
Any other questions?
See your awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all
Thank
your
you
hard
guys.
work.
Thank you guys for
Thank
your ongoing support. We really appreciate it.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any old business? Yes.
If I could just follow up on the childcare thing. All those efforts I think are really important. There's some articles that came out this weekend about how childcare is one of the industries where the wages are not rising. Almost every other industry, we've paid people more to attract them to come to those jobs, and childcare is still about 12-15 an hour. And when you're caring for young folks, those are the folks who can't get vaccinated yet. So I don't know what the solution to that is, but if any of us, while we're reading about our economy and things like that, come up with any ideas, I think we should discuss them in this group to see what we can do, because the impact is on the female workforce in the county. The lack of return to work, and we should try to help as much as we can.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other old business?
Keep in mind with childcare, you've got the childcare credit, which has been increased now so substantially under this administration. So there's federal dollars that are already coming to those folks that are in those situations. Hopefully it's a big help for families with children. So
Because people get hired.
oh, I know.
That's the problem. It's like the chicken and the egg.
We're always fighting.
Yeah.
We look at people that are caring for most vulnerable. They're not making any money.
Right.
and
100%.
It's a consistent challenge.
It is.
So.
But I appreciate your idea for us all to start to get our heads around it, so thank you.
No, I
Oh,
was just
apologize.
agreeing with.
Oh, good, okay.
Pete on the,
Wonderful.
the pay scale of those who help others always seems to be at the bottom end of things, and that's frustrating for me.
All right, any new business? All right, seeing none, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.